Hello everyone, John Fennell here again from Great Lakes Fly Shop, and today we're going to be tying the bead-headed brown superior X-leg. And it comes, from what I understand, it was invented by a man here in Duluth, Minnesota, which is where we're at, here at Great Lakes Fly Shop, by a man by the name of Jim Pollock. It was, I supposedly think, invented back in 1994. A lot of the people used them out in front of the French River back in the days when the Kamloops were pretty numerous, and out in front of the Lester River here on the North Shore of Minnesota. Awesome fly, catches quite a few steelhead, has been an old reliable, and it's very, very simple to tie. That's why we like it here, because you will lose a lot of flies dead drifting on the bottom, getting to where the steelhead are when they first come in the rivers. Anyway, the bead-headed brown superior X-leg, and it's an awesome fly. And let's get started. I'll show you some of the materials which I like to use. The first material I like to bring out is I like to use SLF squirrel dubbing. I like it. It's through Wapsi or your local fly shop. I like it because it has squirrel in it and it makes a lot of spikiness in it. Anyway, it's a little more difficult to put on your thread, so make sure you got some good tacky wax, but I use this religiously. SLF squirrel dubbing. The next material I use is a particular material. You do find it in some shops. It is strong marabou. Again, strong marabou, not woolly bugger marabou. And it's in dark brown. It comes through Wapsi, and I find they're the only ones that have this really, really super dark marabou brown. And the number is MB073. So if you want to find the specifics on it, that's where it's at. The next material I use is silly legs, which, you know, of course, you want to have silly legs and everything. And they come in brown. The model number of these is SF327. I don't know if you saw that very well, but anyway, silly legs brown with black flakes, SF327. Okay? Really nice legs to use. Hooks, 1270 size 10s. I do like the bend, you know, it gives it a little bit more shape. Size 10s, Daiichis, you can use TMCs. They're also really good hooks to use. But anyway, I like the bend. You can tie them on a straight shank hook also. So the choice is yours. Cyclops bead eyes. It's a bead-headed woolly bug, X-leg. So I like to put the gold color on there. You can use copper. Some people like to switch it up a little bit by putting on, you know, pink or orange. But either way, I like to use gold, you can use copper. Copper works really good along the North Shore of Minnesota, and here's a little tip. Gold works a little bit better on the Brule in Wisconsin. So, choice is yours. Don't say I didn't tell you that. All right, so let's get going. I hope in all my videos, again, check them all out. They're on YouTube under Great Lakes Fly Shop, and you're going to have to type in Fennel, I think, after you do that. But anyway, Great Lakes Fly Shop. I got quite a few videos on there, and also you can reach me at Great Lakes Fly Shop, 218-740-3040, or you can get me on my web. You know, just tack on Contact Me if you got any questions on any of the flies I got on there. Okay? Let's get going. All right, first thing you want to do is, of course, I like to put a little bit of wire to add a little bit more weight to my bead. Choice is yours. If you're going to put any wire on, put lead free, of course, and like 035, or you can go 030. It's not absolutely necessary, but you can put it on there. So I put a little bit toward the bead to keep it also in place. Wrap a little bit of thread to give it a nice transition between the weight and the hook, because they are different sizes. And then I go all the way to the bend. Now, what I do is I don't like to use a ton of marabou. Choice is yours. But I do rip off pieces. You do get a pretty big hunk of marabou here. And this is the tail section. So what I like to do is just tear little pieces off. and just smooth them down. Marabou does tend to have a little bit more personality of its own, so I do smooth it down quite a bit, get it less craziness in it. And then I add it to the top of the hook. Again, all tail material goes on the top. I just lay it on top, secure it. There's that pinch method, all right? In between the thumb and index finger, bring it down, pinch. Index, thumb, or finger, bring it down, pinch, and secure your tail. Make sure whatever you do that the tail stays on the center of the hook shank, okay? Notice too with the curved shank, it's a little bit more forcing down. You will have issues sometimes with a curved shank hook. They do have a tendency to twist the leader. Just hold it up occasionally and the flies and everything will untwist. But it's not really a big problem. Then after I put the tail on, I go ahead and just smooth down all this extra stuff. Now you can add flash at this point, you know, crystal flash or some small little flash to the tails. Choice is yours. I don't. Again, the whole idea behind this fly is to get it done, you know. One thing I did not bring up is I like to use ribbing. All right. And the ribbing I like to use is Uniwire in small gold. Okay? I don't know if you can see that very well. Small gold Uniwire. I put that in as a ribbing next after the tail. Sorry, I forgot about that. Now, the Superior X-Leg is pretty popular around here. Everybody ties them a different way. But they're a really nice fly. Okay, next I like to use Hairline's Dubbing's Tacky Wax. I put just a small little clinch on. Notice I don't sit there and rub it all over. Just one little wipe on your thread will work. Again, what I'm using is Uni-Thread 6/0 in dark brown. Okay? I say again, I didn't even think I brought it up. Then, when you're working with this SLF, squirrel dubbing, it's very, very spiky. So all you want to do is pull out small little pieces. Remember, it's not the size of the dubbing, it's the number of turns you make on your body of your fly. So the smaller the amount of dubbing you put on that thread, the better. It works a lot easier. You're not using a lot of dubbing, and it looks a whole lot prettier, because what you want to do is when you're designing this fly, you want it to have a nice taper to it. Okay? It has to have a nice taper to it. That means it gets real thin toward where the tail is, and then it slowly gets fatter toward the thorax and where the rubber legs are. Anyway, you want to work on that. You want to get that nice taper, and then it gets fatter toward the bead. Okay? So what I do is I start with small amounts of dubbing, and that way it makes it easier to get that nice taper. Remember, it's not the amount of dubbing, it's the amount of turns you make. So if you need it to get fatter, you just make successive turns in one area. Now I might be going a little fast with these videos, but understand I try to keep them pretty short. If you got any questions, please, again, give me a call, 218-740-3040 here at Great Lakes Fly Shop. Again, I'm John. I don't use that much. If you notice how much dubbing I put on here, I only use, 3 fingers at the most? That's all you want to work with. Don't put a bunch of dubbing all up and down the thread. It's going to drive you nuts. Notice I haven't even finished the body yet, and I'm still working on it. I'm using the wax. Some people say, hey, I like to spit on my fingers. Hey, the choice is totally yours. Whatever gets that dubbing to just manage out a little bit. Go ahead and just work it up. Once you get closer to the body, you can thicken it up a little bit with the dubbing. It's not so critical to get that nice taper when you get nicer if you want it fat. Then what I do is I pull the hook out a little bit, straighten it up. Okay? So we got the tail working on the body, and we still got the ribbing hanging back here. Again, just apply your dubbing to the thread. Threads are typically already pre-waxed, so you don't really need to go nuts with the wax. You'll find that it works a lot easier, just moderate amounts of wax. I'm still working on the body. I haven't even got into the upper area yet where you add the rubber legs. So you just go and keep adding your dubbing. You're probably thinking, man, you should have had that body done a long time ago. No, folks, when you're working with dubbing, work slow. Anyway, Jim, if you're out there, thank you a lot, man. As much as we do complain sometimes about tying this fly, it is a very good fly. And Mr. Jim Pollock, he lives here in Lakeside, in Duluth, Minnesota. Super, super nice guy. Very, very, very knowledgeable. So if you ever get the chance to sit and talk with the guy, be prepared. You're sitting with a lot of knowledge. Okay, folks, now I'm done with the body. If you noticed, I don't know if you could see it that well, I'm about maybe 2/3 of the way up. All right, I'm done. That's good enough for the body. What I do now is I go ahead and bring the wire, again, small uni gold, and I bring it up. This is a size 10 hook, as I mentioned earlier, so you don't need big wire. Secure it. Trim off the rest of the wire and hold on to it. You might use it for another bug. Again, the superior X leg. Now I'm ready to do the front part, or the thorax of the nymph. So again, we use the same material. There is no wing case. That's what makes it also very easy to tie. You don't have to worry about extra material. And this is where it gets a little trickier. So you want my work with the dubbing around the front part of the fly. Get it fairly thick, because you want it to be about the same thickness as the bead. Working it up with the dubbing. Again, folks, look, I'm not working with a whole lot of dubbing. I stress that in all my classes when I used to have them before COVID. I don't use that much dubbing at all. So the less you use on that string at one time, the better. Okay, now you've got the area ready. I didn't complete it all the way to the bead yet. I stop about maybe 1/8 of an inch away, and I build up a little loading ramp, couldn't get that out, with the thread. And what that does, that facilitates adding our legs. They are a straight, pretty, rigid material, so it makes it a little easier to apply. And then what I do is I take the rubber legs and hold them behind the thread, and then grab them with my fingers like that. Okay? And then I bring the thread up and over, and then have the rubber legs follow, and then mount them on the side. Now, some people mount the rubber legs on top. Again, it's up to you. I like mounting them on the side. That's one side. Now you take the other side, hold it up, bring the thread up and over. I always go up and over the hook. You're in that little loading ramp area that you built with the thread. Why do I do that? It's because it keeps the legs to where it goes out like an X, superior X leg. So make sure the legs are shaped like an X, not like that, but like an X. And you can see that. Pretty simple trying, putting these legs on. Then I take my dubbing again. I got a little punch of it. You ain't got to sit there and grab it out of your bag all the time. I do roughly about 7 dozen of these flies every season here in the shop, so I don't have things still packed in. If you've noticed on my past videos, my fly tying area is pretty much a junk heap. But folks, I tie for a living. You won't be neat when you tie for a living. So notice that I've wrapped the dubbing around that bare ramp that I made for thread. Works out really nice. Now I'm working my dubbing up toward the bead. Getting closer to that area. Again, small amounts, no more than 2, maybe 3 fingers, 2 at the most. And then wrap right into the bead. You don't want any gaps, or you don't want that bead to be any looser than it needs to be. So you just work in little small amounts of dubbing. Again, it's all dubbing. Now, you don't have to use SLF, squirrel dubbing. You can use different dark brown dubbings. Choice is totally yours. Then after I'm done, I secure it. Some people like to see that whip finish tool. It's pretty easy to use. It's a simple little thing. I like the rotating type. You just lay it on top. Give that nice triangle look. I don't know if you can see that well. Make sure you got that thread on the top. And then you just wrap toward inside the bead and secure it. Okay? Got questions? Give me a call. Now, you've got the fly completely done as far as the dubbing, applying it. Now all you got left is the length of the rubber legs. I don't like my legs super long. Some people do. What I like to do is I like to cut them a little short. And that's it, folks. You have just seen the tying of the Superior X leg. And if you got any questions on it, give me a call. John here at Great Lakes Fly Shop, 218-740-3040, or get a hold of me at Great Lakes Fly Shop, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you got. Again, Superior X leg, tie a bunch of them. You're going to love them. Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.